Hi, everyone, and welcome to the lifting for May 16th, 2017. I am Joanna Michaels, and sitting right beside me is my co-host, Christopher Stephen Jacob, and we are so happy you are all joining us tonight. If you are listening for the first time, please visit our website at thelifting2017.wixsite.com/thelifting. There is a lot to see there. And basically, what I want to do really quick before we get started is for those people that are listening. Who is this? Did someone say something?
Oh, it sounded like Aubrey was on here.
Aubrey, you're on the phone?
Yeah, you got me now. Now it's working. I just texted Chris.
Oh, great. Well, welcome aboard, Aubrey. We'll get to you in just a second. Can you put your phone on mute for just a little bit until it's your time to talk?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's working. I will do that.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you in a minute.
All right, bye-bye.
So this is fabulous for everyone listening. Aubrey was someone that we wanted to be on the show tonight, and we were having all these technical difficulties. But, yes, he is with us, as well as another guest, April Colon, to talk about some different things regarding nutrition and these new energies. So we're just thrilled. We thought we were going to have to do it without Aubrey, but as you guys heard, he's here. So anyway, but before we get started, basically I want to put a reminder out to everyone who is trying to reach Chris for an appointment, either now or in the future. Before, back when Chris was just getting started, he was communicating with everybody via Facebook or via his personal email. And as he has grown and his clientele list has grown, he has actually needed assistance with keeping it all together, and so that he could spend more time doing reads and less time doing the administrative part of his work. So he therefore asked me to jump in and help, and I'm happy to do that. The only problem there is now is that everything needs to funnel through the lifting website and the lifting Gmail, which is the lifting2017@gmail.com. in order to make the appointments. And so we are requesting and have been requesting since January to please not try to make appointments via him with talking to him on Facebook or his personal email, but to go to the lifting website, because I'm actually the one that's helping him out with his calendar. And we've had a couple of occasions that we're really sad about, and it really bothers Chris, where either there were missed appointments or double bookings because I was working the calendar one way and he was doing things, and things got mixed up. So we don't want that to happen anymore, and we really humbly apologize to anyone that happened to. But please understand he needs help, and the only way to get it is that everyone goes through the same channel so that we can keep it all straight. So again, if you would like to talk to Chris and set up an appointment, then go to the website. There's an appointment tab, or you can directly go to the Gmail address, thelifting2017@gmail.com, and request an appointment there. So now on to the show. So again, as I just said, we are so fortunate to have a couple of friends joining us tonight who are going to bring their own spin on nutrition, gardening, and alchemy. And that is April and Aubrey, who I just mentioned their names, and we'll say hello to them in just a minute. And again, we're hoping tonight, we'll have to wait and see. We really try to keep these things to an hour. If we can have time for questions and you're listening to us live, then hopefully there will be time and you can do that. Right now, everyone is on mute. And if you have a question, you can get into the question queue by pressing *6. Then you'll be asked if you want to ask a question, and it will tell you to press 1. And then you kind of wait until we get around to you, but we will answer the calls in the order that they were received. So, and afterwards, if you think of any questions that you want to have answered, we always do Q&A shows, and our next one is on May 25th, and you can always send us a question to that Gmail address, and then we just add them all in. And I think everyone has enjoyed the Q&As and all of the different questions that have been coming through. So we just encourage you guys to keep doing that. So before we get started, we always like to do an affirmation and blessing. And I'm going to ask Chris, if you don't mind, giving that affirmation and blessing.
Sure. The affirmation and blessing tonight is from our dear friend James, who passed on some time ago. So it is, I wish for all of you to see that nutrition is truly part of your daily lives, and that all of you find the way that you all feel you must exist on an individual level for your own selves. That's from James.
Great. Thanks, Chris. So to get started, I have to tell you, I've often heard the guides say things to us like, eat whatever you want or do whatever you want. And first off, I figured it was because they did not want us to co-create any additional problems with our stressing over issues, because stress will really start to cause a lot of problems. And so I think, that number one is they don't like us stressing so much and causing additional problems. But now, after what I have been experiencing lately, I think I have a better understanding of what they were meaning. And I think it's hard to grasp all of these energy concepts sometimes. And it can feel real and make-believe, like, all this talk they're doing about energy, and then you start to have experience and you're like, oh my God, there's really something to this. And I have to tell you, I'm touting it all, and that all still happens to me. And I have to laugh at myself, because I'm like, well, you're the one touting it all, and then you're the one not believing sometimes. But I'm just a human, just like everyone else. So I, like many of you out there who have not had the experience of Chris or his mother, who have seen things since childhood, kind of have that internal fight, at times swaying from belief to disbelief. And it's normal and expected. Just by the way, if you weren't sure of yourself and you're growing and whatever, and you're still feeling this way, well, welcome to the human race, and that's perfectly normal. Don't be hard and stress out by the fact that every now and then you feel like you're doing strong, and then sometimes you feel like you're disbelieving. That's perfectly normal. So, but it's nice to have kind of that proof in the pudding, so to say, at times. And so what does this all have to do, what I was just talking about in the energies and the subject of nutrition? Well, like everything else, it has everything to do with that. So, and that's what we really want you to start to understand tonight. So, over the past several years, I know that my desire to garden has increased. And I know that I am fascinated by growth and nature, and I've said this before, you guys have heard me. But am I a vegan, GMO-free, a sugar-free kind of gal? Well, absolutely not. And if you have seen a picture of Chris and me before, well, neither is he. And I can't say we will ever be, because, for one thing, we love ice cream. And other different foods as well, but we love ice cream. So let me just put that out there, because we are not trying to convince everyone to become something they may not want to be and they may not want to do, because we will be the first to say we don't want to do it and we're not doing it. I don't know. It's going to take something really hard coming about for you and me to give up ice cream. What do you think? Yeah. So anyway, but I will tell you this. It is our understanding that there is high vibrational and lower vibrational foods. And if you can just consider this as a fact, well, then you are vibration as well. And you introduce a vibration that is too many frequency hertzes from yours, well, there's a rub. we've been saying this over and over given other circumstances. You're vibrating at a certain frequency. You come across somebody who's vibrating at a different frequency too far apart from yours. There's a rub. It's going to be that same concept, believe it or not, with foods. So, and that rub can be noticed in physical symptoms. And this means that you could have actually enjoyed certain foods all of your life, but now they may seem to bother you. And it could be in the form of GI upset, nausea, abdominal cramps, pain, diarrhea, or in the form of a headache or fuzzy head. And for those who are beginning to channel or venture out with their third eye, well, then things can become fuzzy. Many people think they are being messed with, but in all actuality, it could be what you're ingesting that's also playing a role on this. And this is what Chris and I have been experiencing. So now we, realize that some of what's going on with us, we get to experience all the joys of it ourselves so that we can better relay it to everyone there. So this is what you have to think about now as you're working on yourself and you're raising your vibration. Because some will say, well, you are now developing with these symptoms, and then you fill in the blank with a new illness. And what the guides are strongly saying, that people should not jump to that conclusion anymore. And the darkness would love for everyone to start having physical issues over rising frequencies and then co-create new diseases, new GI diseases. They just think that's great. So just remember that. And again, it's not necessarily a new food, but an older one that is now too incompatible with your vibration. So you have to consider these things now as you're ingesting your food, and don't assume that because you've always enjoyed something all of your life and it's never bothered you, you need to consider that maybe some of those old favorites are now potentially becoming an issue, and you may then want to expand your dietary palette to find new things that aren't going to bother you. So I kind of refer to this new condition, this energy condition, as the blahs, because I don't want to give it a name. It's just I'm kind of feeling blah. So again, try some new things and see for yourself. And the bad news is that for those who are stubborn, like Chris and me, and we don't want to give up certain foods, like ice cream, the frequency change will make it more and more uncomfortable until something changes. And maybe the changes aren't as drastic as those out there would think, because again, to whose advantage is it to tell you that you need to make drastic changes, which you will ultimately fail at because you're human, and we have hard times with that, since you probably don't want to do it, which will reinforce bad feelings and feeling bad about things like this, which then for some of us reinforces wanting those comfort foods, which leads to shame and being upset, which leads to lowering your frequency. So I hope you guys would understand that, again, going all the way back up to the top, that the goal also here is to help you to understand you shouldn't be stressing and obsessing about it as well. So what, again, we just want you to consider, and some things that, again, I was talking to April, and if we have time, I'll bring it up at the end of the show, is we just want to talk about some of these basics. And oftentimes, again, within the higher vibrational when you get into those frequencies, you may naturally just all of a sudden realize you're starting to gravitate, not with pain or agony, but you're starting to gravitate to different foods. So you need to kind of maybe consider expanding your palate a little bit just to see if you naturally want to gravitate towards certain foods that you just now like and want to eat, because that will be a part of this experience as well. So, so again, as the guides have said, eat what you want, and you will then feel good or not so good, and slowly, potentially start to change anyway. So, Chris, real quick, why don't you add a bit to this and tell the audience about our trip through the grocery store with Lentazar?
Yes. This is a very interesting story that I will share with you all now. Long before we went to the grocery store, Lentazar informed us of several foods and drinks, as well as brands and restaurants that we, as sensitive, should never eat or drink at. I will not name these brands or restaurants for liability purposes, but I will say that the symbols that are on the restaurants will stand out at times. I also found out that there are space vermin used in some meats out there. Use your intuition. She gave us specific places to stay away from. My advice is to stay away from most fast food places. When we took our trip to the grocery store, we began to ask Lentazar what was safe for us to eat that would not calcify our pineal gland. For all of you sweet lovers, and that was supposed to be sweet, not sweat on the script, sorry. Okay. Like myself, refined pure white sugar is literally one of the top two culprits. And the other is fluoride-based toothpaste and the like. For us, this was one of the gun-in-mouth moments we all dread. I personally love chocolate and have absolutely no intention of stopping eating it. The sugar that we were told was safe was the pure cane brown sugar. We tried making brownie batter with it, and it was good. It had no ill effects on my pineal gland, nor did it make me feel as if I had been poisoned. I am not saying this is that the concoction that we created was healthy by any stretch of the imagination, but it was good.
It was good.
Now back to the store trip. As we went down the aisles, we asked about certain ingredients, like what type of flour to buy. This one, I will say, the flour to get is King Arthur flour. It is a bit more expensive, but it has far less toxins in it than most. The simple clue as to what things are healthier to buy are that they are a wee bit more expensive. We also asked about one of our favorite desserts, ice cream. We were told the safe brand is Blue Bunny. Also, so whenever anyone buys cards, stickers, or energy constructs from us, you will quickly notice that they will be packaged in a Blue Bunny ice cream container. Another example of prices being higher for a healthier product would be toothpaste. We have noticed that our brand is twice as expensive as the normal name brands on Amazon. I will post a photo on my Facebook of the brand we use and a link to find it on Amazon. So with that, I would like to introduce you all to our guests and let them bring forward what they are inspired to add for those interested in beginning the journey into gardening. I will say, April, it is your turn to go first. After you, then Aubrey can go.
Okay. Hey, guys. Thanks for letting me share a little bit about gardening tonight. Okay, everyone, let me start off. Okay. Sorry. Okay, everyone, let me start off with how I got started into plants and gardening. Growing up here in the South, we have long, hot summers. So as a kid, I was always outside, either playing in the dirt or riding my bike. My grandparents always had a garden going, and my mom had so many pretty flowers. I saw how much my mom put into her flowers, and it was rewarding to her because people would stop that didn't even know her and say how beautiful they were. They'd just stop on the side of the road and stop her, when she was out in the yard. My grandparents grew fresh food in their garden, and they fed everybody with it. People loved my grandma's cooking, too. So much work and care went into all of this, and we all got so much from it. But I myself didn't start growing until around 2006. We lived in military housing, so I was limited to what I could do. I started out with some, pretty plants that I'd purchased and some tomatoes by seed. Everything did well, so I kept on, growing stuff. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't until about 2014 that we purchased our home, and I started to really get into organic foods and medicinal plants. I started everything by seed and kept expanding my garden. So here I am today, and it is still growing, and yes, I'm still starting seeds even now. I teach myself as I go. Yes, I make mistakes. Yes, I get frustrated at times, but I know in the end it's going to be worth it. So with all that said about me, I would like to suggest for anybody who is just starting out with gardening that they choose plants or seeds, of course, that they like, they're interested in, or that they're familiar with. However, it would be beneficial if they research a little bit more about them. That way they'd know what they need. In my opinion, some good plants to start with would be tomatoes, peppers, salad greens, radishes, and onions. These would be a good choice because they do well in the ground and in containers. Honestly, I believe anyone can grow just about anything if you research and take into consideration what each plant needs. Now, a good idea is to plan out a little bit of what you want to do. Write down your ideas, take some notes if you aren't familiar with a certain plant. That way you can give your garden, no matter the size, what it needs. I have notebooks full of stuff I write down, and I find it fun, and yeah, you're going to learn something new all the time. For those who want to start from seed, make sure you choose fresh seeds because some seeds don't stay viable long. Some can store for years, and they still will germinate. I myself start my seeds in late winter and early spring. But like I said, I'm still starting some of them now because we have long summers here in the South, so I can just keep on growing them. Usually, just look at the seed packet, and it tells you when it's best to start in your area. Now, you can save a ton of money by using like old pots to start your seeds in, like milk cartons, plastic cups, or just whatever you have on hand. Or you can start stuff in the ground. Or just buy seed starting trays, and a good seed starting mix. It'll all work out. So also I want to say that you don't need to spend a fortune on seeds. There are some great seed swapping sites I have found on Facebook. I use them at times, and it's awesome. They have like heirloom, medicinal, organic sites. Also, they may have some local sites that you guys may be interested in. You just have to find it, in your area. They could have some local plant swapping sites too. Those are always fun. Just go look them up. Even if you're somebody who don't have any to share starting out with, you don't have any seeds to share starting out, what you could do is you just post up what you're looking for on these sites, and usually you can just send somebody a self-addressed stamped envelope for it because, that's all you'd have to do. Just, give it a try. It could be really fun. You never know what kind of stuff you're going to get. Also, another good thing to remember, if you're going to do any type of container, planting, they require a lot more water, than if you was to plant them in the ground. They need to be watered more often. They tend to dry out faster. And something fun for folks to try would be companion planting. And I started it this year, and I'm hoping to get good results with it. But I have discovered that some of the plants, like I had planted my tomatoes, some peppers, borage, basil, and marigolds together. I planted them, but see, some of my plants has taken off. And my companion plants, like the flowers that's supposed to be beneficial for the insects, to keep some of the bad ones away, they haven't grown as fast. So I think the next time I'm going to, start those a little sooner. So, you learn when you do it, and that's something I need to, do next time. Because I don't want to use any chemicals in my garden, so I'm going to try to do everything I can organically. So really, to sum it all up, you need to start out with a few things you like. Just research, about it. Plan out your layout and just get growing. It's really easy, but you can do as much or as little as you want. And also, wouldn't it be nice knowing you're eating something you grew and took care of yourself? Or if you grew some medicinal plants and used them to help heal yourself or someone else. I think we should all grow our food and medicine. Imagine if all your neighbors did too. I think it would be awesome. Now, Chris, Joanna, I hope what I've shared, just a little bit that what I have talked about, will spark some interest into gardening for somebody out there.
Hey, yeah, that was very interesting, April.
Yeah, thanks, April. Thank you so much for coming on. And we have
just
some
a little
pictures
bit. Thank you.
for those seeing this in the future. We're going to post.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
we have a few pictures of your garden and our garden. So, with that, we can go on to our next guest, or he can talk a little bit about his experiences. Aubrey, you there?
Yeah, Chris, how's it going?
Good, Aubrey. What can you tell us about your?
Happy to be on. Happy to be on with you tonight.
Yeah. What can you tell us about your experience with herbal alchemy and the like?
Well, I'd kind of like to hit on some points first that everybody's brought up, if that's all right. Starting with your affirmation of joy. That was spot on. You know how he says that you can eat the foods that you want. You know, I just want to correlate that with, I believe that we should all listen to our bodies. Now me, I promote health, so I'm not going to go out and say go buy 10 double cheeseburgers and stuff them down if that's what your body's telling you that you want, but. I believe that we all need to listen to our bodies and give our bodies what they deserve and what they need to help them keep ticking and be the machine that they're built to be. And then secondly, I'd like to tell you guys about ice cream and milk. I love ice cream more than any fat little kid in line. In fact, the ice cream store just opened up down the street here, and we went and got ourselves a double dish cone here last night, dishes and cones. But there's one thing that I will say about dairy, since we're talking about health tonight. I actually did a 30-day no milk challenge, all right, and I've been doing some research when it comes to dairy. And I got to say that I felt amazing when I did the 30-day no milk challenge, and I would encourage you guys just to try it, or anybody else out there. And I like to preach about health. It's one of my passions. I encourage people to check out my page, Conspiracy Sector, on Facebook. There's a lot of alternative medicine and health stuff that I post on there almost daily. But I encourage everybody to try the no milk challenge. I mean, what's 30 days? That's really nothing. And you'll have a lot to gain, because there's something interesting about dairy. Actually, I've got to think, and I grew up on 2 cattle ranches, as you know, Chris. And what is the purpose of cow's milk? It's to get baby calves to grow as big as possible, as quickly as possible. With all the proteins and the fats and the sugars and everything that's in milk, it's meant to get a calf to grow huge in a short amount of time. So, dairy consumption is okay, and I still consume dairy almost every other day or every 3 days, especially after a good workout. But overconsumption of dairy is when you get to find, tumors that are starting to grow and other health problems starting to arise. And like you guys were saying earlier, some health problems, don't arise till later in life. You can eat a certain food forever, and then you just develop problems all of a sudden because you almost become autoimmune to that substance, if that makes sense. So I would encourage everybody to try the 30-day no milk challenge. But I just wanted to hit on some of the topics that you guys were talking about. In April, the gardening, that's awesome. I actually just planted a few of my last seeds today. And if people want to try good container plants, there's nothing better than basil. You can use basil in any Italian cooking, and it's about as easy as anything to grow in a container. So I just wanted to hit on some of those points that you guys are bringing up throughout the show, if that's all right.
And your plant alchemy. You were talking to me one time about how you were doing research on which vegetables, which plants, and which supplements and whatnot were actually healthier for us.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I've kind of narrowed it down to a top 3. I know we're limited on time, and I can talk about this stuff all night. But if there was a top 3 things that you can put in your body that you can consume on a daily basis, other than pure structured water. You know, if we don't have anything other than water, the best substances you can put inside your body. I'll go from 3 to and then the best, according to my research and you know what is done for me. And I'll stress again, you know, like it's kind of a correlation to the affirmation as well. You know, where it said, listen to your body, you know, certain things are good for some people, but everybody's biochemically created a little bit different. So what works for one person might not necessarily work for another. So you really have to experiment with your health and, you know, really develop a sense of what works for you and what doesn't. But my top 3, no matter whether they might help people out better or not so much, they'll still have a healing effect on the body no matter what. So number 3 would actually be kombucha tea, all right? Have you guys heard of kombucha tea?
No, we haven't.
I'll have to send you a picture. Yeah, well, yeah, it's KOMBUCHA. And I'll have to send you guys a picture because I've been drinking kombucha store-bought. You know, you can usually buy a bottle of it, 16-ounce bottle of it for $2 to $4, so it's relatively expensive. But I'll send you guys a picture. I actually got a SCOBY, and SCOBY stands for Symbiotic Colony of Bacteria and Yeast. It's almost like it's a bacteria. It feels like a rubbery pad, you know, but it's just the bacteria growth, and it's healthy bacteria. It's nothing that'll kill you. It's good gut flora, essentially. Okay, it's good gut flora. So you want to get a SCOBY and you ferment black tea with that. You know, it's basically like there's a small, tiny amount of alcohol in it, you know, because you're fermenting this tea. And that's how you create that good gut, healthy gut flora, which is essential for an amazing stomach inside your body. You know, just amazing to keep your bowels moving, which is necessary importance when it comes to health. Because there's 2 types of bacteria in your gut. There's good guys and there's bad guys. And when the bad guys start taking over, that's when you start to see stomach problems like possible gluten disorders if it's not something that's passed through your genes that you just developed, Crohn's disease, just an upset stomach in general, you know, things like that can really start to take effect and a toll on your body. So kombucha tea is the number 3rd most healthy thing I believe people could consume on a daily basis. But it's, you know, everybody says, well, it's high in sugar. But what happens is I make a gallon of it at a time, you know, when I ferment it. And it's a cup of sugar for a gallon of tea, basically. It's an easy way to remember. Then you put your SCOBY in there, then you let it go to work for 7 to 30 days. Well, what happens is there's a reaction in there to where the SCOBY, the yeast and bacteria colony, actually turns the sugar crystals into an acidic substance. Okay? And the acidic substance, you know, actually has an alkalizing, cleansing effect on the body. Then you get that good gut bacteria. So really, it's a win-win, kombucha tea is. And it's almost like a healthy soda for people that want to get off of sodas. You do a first fermentation, then you bottle it, and then you can add fruit juices, you know, pure raspberry juice or pineapple juice or lemon or ginger root, anything like that to it, and then you bottle it, and you let it ferment for another 3 to 5 days, and it becomes carbonated during the second fermentation. So essentially you're getting a healthy soda, you know, so people that, you know, might be thinking I shouldn't drink as much soda, or, you know, I kind of want to quit soda, or I want a healthy alternative to soda, kombucha takes the cake there. And I've actually got a couple people to try kombucha that have really weaned off of soda. So, but number 2, all right, so that was number 3. Number 2 would actually be raw cacao. Do you guys know what that is?
No, actually I don't. No. No.
Okay. Are you 2 chocolate lovers?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're speaking my language here. Okay, so raw cacao is chocolate in its raw form. You know, we've heard of cocoa. You see your Snickers bar on the aisle. Well, whatever chocolate that you see out there, it originates from the cacao bean. cocoa is basically processed cacao, okay? Cacao is chocolate in its true form. And what if I told you that chocolate's one of the healthiest things you can, the second most healthiest thing you can be putting on your body, in your body on a daily basis? I mean, right when I started getting in the cacao craze a little over 2 years ago. What's that?
I love you, Aubrey.
Well, I love you guys too. What can I say? Okay, so yeah, I encourage you guys to, I get it off at Amazon, but you can buy it at any health food store. I just get it off of Amazon because it's the largest online shopping mall in the world, and you can choose different kinds, whatever kind you want. But, of course, you should get organic and unroasted. You want raw cacao. That has the most healing benefits and the most health benefits. Cacao has been used in South America for thousands of years for nutrition. It's a superfood. And it's actually one of the highest or the highest magnesium containing food on the planet. It's one of the highest antioxidant containing foods on the planet. So, and we're all magnesium deficient, okay? You might have low energy, that 2 o'clock crash. And I'll be the first to tell you, when I started making these cacao smoothies, and I'll get into that a little bit because I want to give people good information. Like I said, I know we're short on time, but I want to give the best information possible that I can for people that want to try it. Cacao is high in B vitamins as well. So when you make your smoothies, we've heard, how dark and milk chocolate is, which one's better for you? Well, obviously, we've all heard dark chocolate is better for you. Well, a lot of the reason why, you've seen the dark chocolate bars that says 75% cacao or 80% cacao, okay? Well, milk chocolate, it's not necessarily because of that dairy, like I said, when I said do the no milk challenge, but what happens is when you mix cacao or chocolate with dairy, the dairy absorbs a lot of those nutrients when you digest it. So it absorbs a lot of that magnesium and a lot of them B vitamins. So really, it steals the healing benefits out of the chocolate when you consume milk chocolate. So whenever you make smoothies with this raw cacao powder or cacao nibs or the whole cacao bean, the most popular form is probably raw powder. You want to use a non-dairy milk, and my favorite's almond, but people can use coconut, hemp milk, anything that they please, but use a non-dairy milk with that. And I assure you that you will see an energy boost. You will see your liver working better, your organs will be working better. Your mind will be clearer. You're talking about the calcification of the pineal gland. And chocolate, in my mind, would be one of the things that would uncalcify the pineal gland because of the high magnesium content. And like you said, fluoride is one of the worst things possible. But we might get into that if we have time. But then number one, okay, and I'll go into a little story here. So no matter whether we have a head cold or whether we have cancer, inflammation is a big part of any disease, okay? It doesn't matter whether we have heart problems or whether we have the flu, inflammation, or even sore knees, inflammation is going to be a part of any disease, okay? So what do we do to combat that? Well, we have to get foods that are anti-inflammatories. And this is actually, I have a huge passion for this number one food that I'm going to list. It's actually what really made me want to create like a conspiracy sector, along with some UFO sightings that I had and some paranormal experiences that I've had and some life lessons I have learned. But turmeric was a huge reason why I got into the health field. And turmeric has been used for thousands of years in Ayurvedic medicine to heal everything from cancer to colds. And it's popular in like curries, Indian and Asian curries, Most people might even have, that don't know what turmeric is, might even have it in their spice cabinet, not even realize it. But incorporating turmeric any way you can, it will automatically make you a healthier person. Turmeric's so powerful that people who even have diabetes, it'll help lower your blood sugar. So, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell people, to not take their diabetes medication. And really, you want to be careful not to take too much turmeric if you do have diabetes, because it could lower your blood sugar too much. But that's just an example of how powerful natural medicine is. Turmeric has scientifically been proven in studies to be more powerful than 20 allopathic prescription medications. So it not only deflames your body, it's a powerful anti-inflammatory, like I said. It's high in antioxidants. It has cancer-killing compounds, which are called curcuminoids, the most powerful in turmeric being curcumin. But with all these health benefits, there is one significant problem about turmeric. The curcumin is the major health benefits of turmeric, but our bodies have troubles absorbing curcumin. So what do we do to combat this? Well, if you mix it with black pepper or black pepper extract, your absorption rates of curcumin and turmeric in general will increase by 100%. So everybody out there, easy ways to incorporate turmeric, sprinkle some on your popcorn, sprinkle some in your hamburger meat. Just be sure to sprinkle black pepper on with it no matter what you do. And golden milk is an amazing recipe. Just Google a recipe for golden milk that has been used for thousands of years as well in India. And also take a turmeric supplement. A good quality turmeric supplement won't run you any. Will run you from $16 to $24. But what's that? And it's a month or two supply. And that is what really got me into health. Turmeric was I had a huge passion for it because I was 18 years old, never had any injuries. I played a lot of sports. I'm really active. I was starting to develop knee pain. Well, I got to researching some natural ways that I could cure that, and turmeric is what I found, and turmeric has healed me. I often joke, I just turned 26 this past March. When I was, now I joke, I say when I was 18, I felt like I was 26, and now that I'm 26, I feel like I'm 18. So that's my top three substances that you can put on your body on a daily basis or most of the time to really develop not only a healthy body, but a healthy life and a healthy mind, and just feel absolutely amazing. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world what I've learned, and how I've learned to cure disease and sickness, and just to live an amazing life with natural medicine, basically.
Well, that's great, Aubrey. That is so fabulous, especially turmeric, again, for people to explore who are having some potential chronic pain issues. So do you cover a lot of this on your website?
Oh, yeah, on my page on Facebook. I'm looking at getting a website. I've been researching to get a new computer. I'd like to get a little podcast or something started as well, but I just have the Facebook page. I've been running that for about 3.5 years now, and it's Conspiracy Sector on Facebook. But I was wondering if there's time, can I just talk about 3 things that we should avoid, if we want to become healthier?
Sure, go
ahead. I won't go into big detail.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let's go to the top 3 things to avoid. And actually, I should say turmeric along with, I'll go with the number 1, then the number 2, then the number 3 this time, All right, so what catapulted me really to change my health, turmeric got me wondering, about my sore joints and knee pain at such a young age. But one time, I drank a blue slushie, okay, and it may sound gross, but it turned my urine like an aqua green, and like a big fear struck within me. I was like, okay, what the hell is this doing to my body? This is cancer at its first steps. But the first thing that just popped in my mind, common sense told me that. So artificial colors are the number 1 thing people need to avoid on a daily basis. All right. Number 2 would be artificial sweeteners. All right, like aspartame. We've all heard of aspartame, which is essentially rat poison. And then number 3, any guesses? You guys want to say something that you 2 guess on the third one? That we shouldn't be putting into our bodies. Just guess. There's artificial colors, artificial sweeteners. You guys guess the third.
What do you think, Joanna?
Well, I'm going with white refined sugars.
White refined sugars is what we were thinking, but
Okay, well, you're on the right track. I'm going to go number 3 is fluoride. We actually talked about it a little bit in the show.
Yes, fluoride,
right?
yes, yeah.
So, and then I would go white sugar, but white sugar caused, a huge epidemic of diabetes, especially in children nowadays. All right? For why cancer. Every sickness is at an all-time high. It is. Everything is at an all-time high. And what's causing it? Well, it's what we're shoving in our pie holes, if you ask me. Because I wasn't necessarily sick. I never had diabetes or anything like that, but my body was toxic. And, my body was screaming out to me, you need to do something about this, or else you're going to end up hurting. You're going to suffer from it. So I started changing my health, and I started avoiding artificial colors. And I just want to preach to everybody. There might be a lot of people that are out there. Well, you got to live and you got to have fun and you got to eat junk food. You don't have to be the health nut. I don't consider myself an absolute health nut. I eat right probably 90% of the time. But you don't have to be a health nut. But we have to develop certain rules, to always reach for something that's alive and not dead, or to start cutting my soda consumption in half and start drinking more water. Because 80% of people out there are chronically dehydrated and don't even know it. They haven't given their body enough water that their body just thinks that it's normal not to be hydrated. And dehydration and constipation are two of the biggest. Constipation is the biggest doctor visits in the whole United States. More people go to the doctor for simple constipation, dehydration than anything else that they go to the doctor for. And that's the number one thing that can be avoided, is just stay hydrated. And you don't want to drink, like tap water, because our city municipalities are fluoridating it, which will calcify your pineal gland, and there's chlorine and a bunch of other junk. I call it toilet water instead of tap water. That will just kill your digestive tract, and that's where the kombucha tea comes in to help your body heal and feel well. So I just wanted to give some tips like that. I know you guys probably want to say your final thoughts on the show tonight, but hopefully that was some good information for everybody to kind of begin with. And maybe we'll have to do another show. I can talk about how people can. Easy tips on how they can start getting healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think something like this on nutrition and many of the other shows that we just did, within an hour, they're really just beginners. There'll be more and more we'll talk about in all of these subject matters. And we really absolutely appreciate Aubrey, you and April as well coming in and joining us for this opening discussion, because we'll certainly have more on nutrition. And hopefully through some of the conversation that's been had today, you guys may have questions or want some clarification or want to discuss another topic. So this is, again, where we ask you guys just email us, and we'll answer what we can in our Q&A, or if we see a lot of interest in something, then obviously we're going to pursue it because you guys want to talk more about it. So thank you, both again. And can they reach you then? Anybody who wants to go to your Facebook site, again, what is it, Aubrey?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and, I've had a lot of people come through my page on Facebook to ask, for, health advice. And I'm more than happy. I often joke, and I often joke saying that I'm the uncertified nutritionist, but really I have a passion for helping people. And, my goal is to change people. My goal is to give people good information to start living better and healthier lives, because, quite frankly, we don't have to suffer. We're all programmed nowadays to think that eating all these bad foods is okay. And, every now and then, who cares? We're indulge, and we continue to put these poisons in our body. And nothing's good is gonna take it on. And if anybody has any questions with what I talked about tonight, they're more than welcome to write me as well. Like I said, I often post those, natural medicine, alternative medicine, because that's what actually cures a person. So, yeah, Conspiracy Sector on Facebook is where they can reach me.
Great. Thank you so much, Aubrey. So, again, part of this show was actually there was interest for a nutrition show, and we hope you've gotten something out of it. I think I really can't tell everyone enough that, first of all, stop stressing over it, and then second of all, start exploring and start considering that if you eat the same old things all the time, start considering expanding your palate. And we don't have time to talk about it tonight, but we will show you a picture. So Chris and I are kind of in the midst of being little vagabonds, traveling here and there, but we still wanted to do a garden. And I'm at a place at my father's with very, 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 very limited space. So we're exploring this time, and we're actually doing a garden that's partly out of a kiddie pool with garden bags. And literally garden bags are nothing more than the fabric pieces, the weed block fabric. It wicks, and basically it's simple. You throw everything in the bag. You put the bag in the kiddie pool. You keep the kiddie pool filled with about a half inch or so of water. It wicks up and provides a great environment with very lazy weeding. I do not like to weed, so I'm a lazy gardener. And so I'm going to show you a picture of my kiddie pool, and the plants are doing phenomenal. And so you can look that up. You can look up gardening bags. And again, at the end of a season, if you're on a patio or something and you don't know what to do, you just literally can throw it away. So we want to also find easy things for people to do that are in limited spaces. Anything to just kind of get started, and then your own soul is going to kind of drive you to where you need to be, because again, just like Aubrey said, and how we believe is that your frequency and where you are is going to guide you to where you need to go. So stop stressing and start exploring. And if you're compelled to want to do something, just try it and don't make a big deal of it. But I will say that there were two things before we talked to the Galactics. And we may go over a few minutes tonight because I know it's late, but we wanted to have these two guests on, and we're going to let the Galactics have their say as well, is that we were told two specific things for you to consider. One of them is that we are sovereign beings, and we do have a say. And so one of the things that you should do no matter what you're putting in your mouth is bless the food that enters your body and ask that only the nutrients for the highest good do something within your cellular level, and just bless the food. Have that intent that the food that you're eating, no matter what it is, the good nutrients will be pulled out, and anything else will pass through you. So that intent is meaningful, so bless your food. And the other thing is basically, as we've said before about the refined sugar, we were said that's probably number 2, refined white sugar, but it doesn't have to be that drastic. And they say you would be surprised. Right now, if you're coming off sugar is hard for you, just substitute brown sugar for white is the first step. And we were told we need to start making our own ice cream with brown sugar, although we haven't done it yet, but we'll let you know when we do. So anyway, let's move on. And so what do the Galactics have to say about all of this, Chris?
Let's see. What is very interesting is these are 3 that I do not believe have ever spoken on here. Well, in their various groups, yes. But as individual, we'll just, for the lack of a better term, say figureheads, the first one to present themselves to me was M. Oh. And the second one to present themselves to me was Epsilon. Oh. The third was the Constant.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see. This is definitely going to go over because they are M is known for his which is now her long-windedness. So, and okay, that got the other 2 laughing. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. We'll go with M first. Greetings to you all. This is M. And I am here to say, on behalf of the M, as you would say, soul grouping, that I can feel a disruption in any individual part of myself, just like Source can feel the same disruption. In this particular instance, I can say that certain poisons, though created under the purview of what you would say Source, because everything is indeed Source, certain poisons that harm any fractured portion of myself, or in some instances created by any fractured portion of myself, is simply unacceptable to my liking. And I will announce here today that the House of M has had its bad times. The House of M also, at one point, instrumentally helped create the very poisons by which you find yourself plagued by today. However, the House of M is now in its unity, and can say now that any of its fractured pieces have been reclaimed by the entire House in its entirety and its completeness. The very poisons that plague your system are indeed labeled sometimes with an M. Not all M's are created equal, everyone. In this instance, there is a fractured portion that I had to cut loose from myself centuries ago. This became part of what you would call the Arconian binary network, the, as you call them, bad guys introduced into your society. In this instance, this is why in certain movies we are depicted as dark, because at one time we were, because there were parts of us that wished to experience both polarities as humans experience them. Humans experience them as darkness and light, when in fact those two paradigms do not exist at all. It is merely a perception and a perspective that lies. This is what I have to say about your nutrition and how you can combat these very poisons. You must, for one, be in the moment, always. 2, you must bless your food, as dearest Joanna has said thusly. And 3, remain in balance always. If it is something that you love to eat and it contains these very poisons, now this is very crucial. I would not recommend that you poison yourself, no, but your human frame has a propensity to gain an immunity to virtually anything. So, I can honestly say that these very poisons can be defeated by the very body and skin suit in which you exist in. This was the grand design of the whole plan. The for and against that the system is using against you can be used against itself. Be happy with what you eat. Even if it is a poison, you can bless it, and your intention can change the very nature of the poison, since it was intention that created it to begin with. Though we are saying steer clear of certain foods, but if you must go to these foods, just know your intention can transmute it and transform it into whatever you wish. Now, I will transfer this line of questioning and channeling over to the other 2 colleagues. The other one that will wish to go first, obviously, will be the nature group, Epsilon. This will be him from this point further. I am M, and I bless all of you currently. I am known as Epsilon, or nature's code, or the elemental code. I exist as a multitude of beings within your nature's code and your natural order, as you humans call it to be. You are part of this natural order, though you are foreign to this planet. The natural order exists in all microbial forms and all molecular forms across the face of your universe, multiverse and omniverse, and even the super omniverse. Yes, all of these forms of nature exist everywhere. There is no such thing as an invader molecule into the space of another molecule. It is all the face of source, all the face of nature. If nature wishes one molecule to coexist with another molecule, then nature shall have it. This is the nature of all of you. When you look into this subject of nutrition, for instance, also see yourselves in the very thing that you are eating. Every molecule, as I said, is no less or more important than the other. So, when you consume certain foods and certain drinks, just know that this particular law of coexistence, as I shall call it, must be in tandem. What I mean is this: when you consume a food, your body, as you humans would say, is a temple space. What you invite into your temple space determines how that temple space operates. What you do to those foods, to bless or not bless, also invites or not invites negativity into your lives. Think of this subtlety this way. Think of your most decrepit poisons on your planet. Yes, I am aware they come from nature itself, so no bashing at this time. These particular poisons, I must add and reiterate, can, in fact, damage your body's temple and even destroy it. So, think of these things as an invader coming into your home. Not necessarily the most decrepit of demonic creatures, no. Think of it along similar lines as inviting a darkness into your home, but on a microbial level. Think of it this way. You have a food that you buy from your grocery store. You do not care what it says. You do not care to bless it. You do not care what it is. You just know that it tastes good. Very much like certain entities that are out there. They have a frequency that, quote-unquote, tastes good to humans. But yet, would you drag a Draco reptilian into your home? No, I do not believe that you would. Not at this time, anyway, in your history, before this particular species has grown out of its dark encumbrance. So, I will say this. Before inviting a poison into your home, declare it not a poison. Declare it a food worthy of your body's temple, worthy of your home space, and worthy of being within your biosphere, as it were. This way, you turn the system on itself, and that system then becomes better and unencumbered by bad and ill perceptions, such as exist in your world today, as the for and against. Thank you. All right. The last person that has come through this evening has never spoken in this fashion, except through the intricacies in which he's involved in humans on a microbial level and such. This would be the universal constant. This is who is involved in the sciences, the physics, and change itself. Anything that is constant in this universe, that is unchanging and unwavering, but also changes at the same time. So I will let him through. Greetings to you all this evening. I am known as the Universal Constant, or the group of C, as these two have come to call me. I am change itself. That is my name by nature. I change with the winds and the ebbs and flows of energies. I change as my constant, as my rock, as my pillar. The others may be more malleable because of nature and the warrior and monk codes and like. These are belief systems. These are also changes in nature and the winds and such. But I am change itself. I am unwavering in my position. I am a rock and a pillar. But as I go forth into the cosmos, and into your understandings. I help change your world through you all. I seldom have a voice in this fashion because my voice is all of you. You all have the ability to change and transmute your environment in the most profound of ways. I am not at fault, nor am I worthy, as you would say, of just one individual voice. This is not me trying to run a guilt trip on all of you. I am saying you all have a voice in change. This means you can change what your world grows. You can change what your world consumes. You can change what your world creates. Create a better timeline by creating a better you, meaning create a better you by not considering yourself a slave to a system that was created to chain you down in all respects. No, this is not the way. True change, true science, true physics does not abide chains. There is no such thing in change. Chains do not exist. The chains that you apply to your breath, your sight, your sounds, and your environment, no, this is not the way. In this respect, the foods that you grow and you consume, you can change these. Yes, they are poisonous, some by nature, and yes, we can blame Dear Epsilon for this particular calamity, but in this particular instance, I can say, as the other two have said, change what these things are by avoiding the most toxic of them, but changing them enough to where they do not harm you and they do not harm others. Yes, this may not seem like a quick process like you humans wish it to be, but as I've said, change is constant, but change can also come swiftly, but it can come slowly in a process as well. This is what I have come to say this evening. Some of you may never hear from me again unless you acknowledge that you have the ability and the power to change whatever you wish to. Thank you. All right. That was unexpected this evening. So I don't see any more that are here other than these three. So with that, I believe, Joanna, you can complete this by reading the do we have the last affirmation and blessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Again, we were obviously very honored to have M and Epsilon and the Constant, all three here for this very important topic. It really is remarkable that they're all had something to say about this. So anyway, again, we hope you guys have just been inspired by the guests, inspired by what we had to say, and of course inspired by our galactic contribution, and want to explore and bless your food, of course, as we've all been saying, and take charge and be sovereign and demand that sovereignty within yourself and that world around you. So the affirmation and blessing for the end comes again from James. Blessings to all that hear the words of truth from their very own hearts. Remember, your soul is the only voice that cannot deceive you. Blessings again, and that's from James. So we hope you have enjoyed tonight, and just a few announcements. Of course, Chris works really hard to try and get these shows up on YouTube, but we'll be adding some pictures in here as well, and so it may take us a little bit more time, but he tries really hard to do it as quickly as possible. If you just want to listen to the show again, you can, as soon as we're done, you can call the free conference call replay number, and that's 712-775-7039, and if you enter that participant code that was used in the live show, 356878, you can hear it again if you'd like before the YouTube video is up. Watch our weekly blogs every Monday. We post them. Sorry about yesterday. We were quite busy, so the blog got up a little later in the day than we normally like it, but we'll try to get them up a little bit earlier. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever, then please forward them to us at thelifting2017@gmail.com. Our next viewers question and answer show is next Thursday, April 27th. And again, we'll answer as many as we can, but we do like to try and have, at least on that show, some live question and answers if we can do it. And if you need any help, you want to speak to Chris or his mom, Katrina, certainly go to the website and click into the appointments tab. And just again, as a reminder that they will not go over 2 hours for one reading session at a time. So again, thank you all for joining us tonight on The Lifting, and we hope you have a fabulous weekend, even better weekend. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody, and thank you.